Hello, fellow Star Trek fans. Welcome back to the second episode of our Starship model review series entitled Dry Dock. I am, of course, joined by my regular co-host, the lovely Mike number two. Mike number two, Merry New Year to you, sir.
Merry whatever time of year this is where the space-time continuum just disappears and is called Betwixtmas. We don't know what day it is. All we know is we are full of
shops open. Have the
cheese.
come? Yeah, I don't even know what day it is. What day is it today?
Yes, I am 2 stone heavier. Everything tastes of cheese, and
I've got turkey sandwiches for a month.
Belts are a thing of the past.
Yes.
Merry
New Year. Merry New Year. Because to be fair, we're recording this on the 30th of December, and it will be going out early January. So, yes, well, my computer is telling me it's the 30th. It's a Monday today.
What? Lies.
Exactly. I know. Blasphemy. Mondays. We hope that you all had a wonderful Christmas and New Year. But of course, we are here to talk about one thing and one thing only, which is the Fanhome model, the second release of the Fanhome model collection, which is the USS Stargazer from season 2 of Star Trek Picard. I have a feeling, Mike number 2, this is your least favorite ship design of all time, if I'm mistaken.
No, this is one of my most favorite designs of all time. So much so that I have Mr. Blass sign. Look at this. Bloody marvellous. Signed copy of the Sagan-class Stargazer. I fell in love with this design. I love the moment I saw it in Picard season 2. We should have seen far more of it in Picard season 2, but we didn't.
And some more of it in Picard season 3, to be fair.
Well, we were supposed to see more of it in season 3, weren't we?
Well, we kind of did. We got the Echelon class, which is like it lost 2 limbs.
It's a Stargazer on a diet. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's got 2 nacelles missing. Bless it. So we are going to talk about exactly the same things in episode 1. We're going to talk about the experience so far of how issue 2 has arrived. We're going to talk about the magazine, and then we're going to talk about the 2 parts of the model, which are the stand and the model. So, with that being said, let's talk about the experience. I was pleasantly surprised because the last issue, we in the UK were stuck with it shipping a couple of weeks after the US. And once again, and I think I can speak for most Americans in this point that Fanhome have just decided to pick the worst courier networks they can find. Because I know a lot of my American friends are screaming and shouting at the United States Postal Service because their models have been stuck in some random backward part of the country for 2-3 weeks now.
A lot of I
suppose it's Christmas as well, isn't it? And that doesn't really help. But at the same time, that to me is just bad planning on the logistics side of things.
They got stuck in the Kansas warehouse.
Was it Kansas?
And ironically, it makes a refreshing change compared to the first issue where we got it first for once, and then the Americans were mourning that we were posting photos, and we were like,
exactly. Yes, the tables have turned.
How the turntables.
Exactly.
But we still have our delivery firm that we shall not mention. Because
we'll mention them. It's Yodel. We hate Yodel. The thing that made me laugh is I think it was the 17th of December. We all got emails in the UK that says, we're really sorry, but Yodel have reached their capacity, and if your order wasn't picked up by the 16th of December, well, tough luck, and you're going to get it at some point in January if you're lucky. Yeah. The thing that made me laugh about that is they sent it the day after they were supposed to pick them up. So I'm kind of wondering if that was a strategic part on Fanhome's side, so they don't get inundated messages.
This was a very confusing period because I remember messaging you going, huh? Because we both received the email saying, sorry, if your order wasn't picked up, you will not get this until some point in January. And I was like, because you had got it, but I hadn't. So we knew that you were going to get it, which I thought, brilliant. And then I was like, I'm not going to get it. And then I got a message saying, actually, you are going to get it, despite it being after the cutoff. And I'm like,
so what I think happened is that So earlier, the very early part of, second week of December, Yodel put out an announcement, a press release to say, look, we're seriously struggling with holiday demand. There is no way that we're going to be honoring existing agreements, etc., etc. We'll obviously do our best to try and clear the backlog as quick as possible. Right. And then obviously Fanhome had then placed an order for a couple of thousand units to be shipped, or however many it is from within the UK.
Yeah.
And I think from what I can kind of gather is that only a third or thereabouts of the ones that they were shipping have actually gone.
So it
And
was.
Yodel were really late and really delayed at updating their tracking. Because when I was looking at it, it got mine said on, I think it was the 4th of December, it said it had been shipped and nothing happened until the 16th.
Yeah.
And then on the
It
16th,
was.
I got, it's been picked up.
It's kind of a bonus for us because the delay with the Titan was a blessing in disguise because
Yeah.
we got 2 brand new ships within the space of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But the whole confusion because Yodel really dropped the ball in the UK because they said we're at full capacity. It's Christmas. Who knew it would be busy? Certainly not Yodel. So
Funny that. It's not like it
so
comes around every year either, is it?
I know. And they sort of sent out really confusing messages, and then they'd gone on their social media and said, in general, we're at full capacity. We won't be taking any new orders from anyone. So Fanhome did the right thing and said, just an FYI, we've received this from Yodel. This is what they have said. And luckily, some of us did get it in that, or just under that window,
Yeah.
because I think what they've probably done is looked at the people who've done the like subscribed first, perhaps, or I don't know how they've done it, and they've just taken a third of that and then ensured that those.
Well,
were shipped out.
I think it's just done it in sort of number order. The people that
That's what I'm
subscribed
thinking.
early just happened to be the ones that have gone out the door first because they were the
Yeah,
ones that were kind of processed and boxed first.
yeah. I mean, I did have a bit of a hairy moment. There was a payment issue, which I quickly resolved. But even with that payment issue, I was still able to get the ship
Yeah.
well in
Yeah.
time.
Well, I
So
think from what I've managed to piece together so far, they take payment and then they wait 4 days. Once the payment has been made within 4 days, that's then when it then starts progressing through and actually, so it does give you time to remedy any payment concerns
off the
or
back of
thereabouts.
payment concerns, though, there was a payment issue
Mm.
with our subscription this month.
I don't know if it was just the UK or if it was everybody. I think it was just the UK. We all
Yeah.
got charged a whopping extra £1 whole.
Damn you!
And to be fair, Fanhome were really good. Very quickly put a message out on their social media to say, look, we're really sorry, our system screwed up. We've charged you an extra £1 for shipping. We will refund this back to you on your next order, which I thought, okay, that's great. Thank you. And then 24 hours later, we all got emails to say the same thing. I kind of wish that they kept the quid and shipped it with someone else. I'd rather them they keep the £1 and just send it with DPD or DHL.
Yes,
You know what
I
I mean?
would
Just
very
send it with
much
a
love
courier that actually knows what the hell they're doing. I think our American friends are also in that kind of same boat where they're just screaming because they are stuck. Everything's stuck in Kansas. Perhaps the Wizard of Oz needs to put his wand out and actually move things through the parcel network.
that. My Stargazer's not in Kansas anymore. Yes, it is.
It's like a weird mishmash movie. Can you just imagine a
It's-
Stargazer landing on the Wicked Witch of the West?
There's no place like home. But
take me to the bridge. No, yes.
click
No,
your
no
red facade
communicators.
collectors.
Just click your heels together 3 times and you're beamed to the bridge. I have an idea. Hang on. I have a really, really, really good idea. You will appreciate this one. I think a certain somebody needs to make a fan film like that.
What?
Samuel Cockings, if you're watching, please make a Wizard of Oz and Star Trek crossover.
That would be wicked.
Exactly. It'd be on theme for the season.
Yes, it would be. But no, so we had the payment issue, which Fanhome did quickly resolve. And luckily, it does seem, despite the restrictions of the choice of courier, they are getting slightly better.
Yeah.
But we were quite lucky this time that it was the UK that got the ship first, as opposed to the Americans, and
Yeah.
then we could witness the Americans having a go at people posting pictures in the fan groups, and it's like, you did this
Yes.
first.
Exactly.
Twice.
Yes.
You did this at New York Comic Con, and then you also
Did it
it
again.
when you all
Yes.
got delivered.
Yeah. So, look, it happens. This is what happens when you have two countries with two different delivery networks. It's going to happen. But to be fair, I think the experience of this month, other than the small payment hiccup, and obviously, I'm just going based on my personal experience here. So far, it's better than issue 1. I
Yes.
feel that our dear friends who didn't get their orders picked up before the 16th will disagree, and if I was in that standpoint, I would also be saying exactly the same thing. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. I'm hoping that with the other 18 issues left to come up over the next 18 months, cool, that's a bit. Ooh, 18 months.
18 months minimum. That's
Yes,
what I'm going to say.
Exactly, 18 months minimum. I'm hoping that Fanhome might actually listen to the outcry and remedy the situation. But, we'll have to wait and see.
DVD.
So, look, I think experience so far, again, can't complain too much. I think the experience has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the magazine.
Oh, let's.
Because if I'm honest, I think this month's magazine is a bit of a letdown.
Why is that, though?
So, it has all of the same problems as issue 1. Terrible print quality. Again, actually, I think the print quality is worse. Mine is all scratched on the back. It's got more stripes in it than a tiger. The print quality this time around is absolutely, as my Welsh friends would say, shocking. And again, I think for Roto Mail in Italy, you need to sort your printing sorted out, because I mean it does say on here
your toner is low
in Italy. Yes, well, I just think you need some new quality control reps.
Yeah.
But there we are. Or the other option is Fanhome. You are a magazine publisher. You should be able to print a damn magazine. I'm sorry.
Nice glossy magazine.
But it has all the same pitfalls as the last one. It's the same weight paper on the front cover as the paper inside. It's just cheap. It is just cheap, isn't it? That's what it is. And then it also has the strange, all the bugbears we had last time around, with weird and wonderful fonts that don't make any sense, that don't fit within the Star Trek Paramount brand, some god-awful, horrible color choices. You can't actually read half the stuff on black pages. So, yeah, I think the actual quality of the magazine, again, is something that, guys, it's not a difficult thing to remedy. And then on the content, I don't feel the content this time around was as good, as the first time. There's nothing new here.
Now, I sort of feel with the Titan, we learned new things about the ship in that magazine. With this one, we are very limited. So the Stargazer, as we mentioned, had a very limited exposure in season 2 of Picard. But as we all know, with Doug, Dave, and John, they heavily detail this vessel. And we do see with the brief description at the beginning on page 4, there's extreme detail about every deck, how many decks there are, how many decks the impulse drive covers, and everything like that. This was, and it's very evident, everyone knows this was going to be the hero ship of season 2 and 3 until Terry Metalis changed the direction and we got the Titan. So there was a lot of detail and love poured into it. What I find is lacking in this magazine is the reflection of the level of detail that was poured into this. There's a great background about how the ship was designed and what they wanted and how they brought in designers from Star Trek Online, which was a brilliant idea. However, this is on par with the Titan on the level, the sheer immaculate detail and design that was put in.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. I think the only thing is, though, we did learn new little nuggets of information last time
We
around,
did,
where
yes.
everything that's in this magazine has already been said, it's already been published. All
Yeah.
of the concept art that's here has been widely shared on social media for the last couple of years, whether that's through Dave, whether that's through Doug.
Yeah.
So it kind of is, there's nothing new here. It's just sort of recapping what's already been, done and dusted, I suppose.
I would have liked little new nuggets of information. I would have
Yes.
liked something that we have never seen before. Whether or not there is anything, we don't know. And I think for this is a compendium more than anything this month. This is a compendium
Yeah.
of details and facts about the Sagan class and the Stargazer as a
Yeah,
whole.
exactly.
There could have been a lot more, and I don't know if this was just heavily edited because they only have 16 pages to have.
Well, if they had a different color cover, then they could put a few extra pages inside of it. Just
They
saying.
could indeed, because there is far more detail. I mean, me and you know there is so much more detail.
Yeah.
We've spoken to John Eves, we've spoken to Dave and Doug, and we know there is so much more detail that they could have poured into.
I tell you what, though, the only thing I would say, I have to say, and I don't know who to point the finger at here. I'm going to blame Dave. It's all Dave's fault. No,
not Dave. No.
But I actually prefer some of the concepts to the final piece.
Which one?
Well, if you turn to page 12, there is a full page spread of the nacelles turned on their sides.
I'm going to play
awesome instead of pointing up.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this was omitted because this looked heavily like John Eves' concept for the Emmett Till from the DS9 Season 8.
Could be. But there's just something about... Because the only other thing that I never quite understood with the Sagan class, right, is that it looks... Well, in my opinion, it looks odd having all four nacelles the same way up.
Now,
I think if the bottom two nacelles were flipped, it would actually look better, because if you think about it, the front of the nacelles are doing that. So you've got them stacked like this. But if they were stacked as an arrowhead, it would actually look a little better.
There is artwork out there by fans where they have inverted the ventral nacelles to give it that look. And I'm going to say I don't like it.
Okay.
It looks strange in a way. For me, design and flow, this it gives me this 50s hot rod thin vibe.
Because the only thing I would say is on page 11, where there are the early concept art version 2 Stargazer, which then was called the Jaeger class Starship.
Yeah.
If you actually look in the bottom left corner, it does have the bottom nacelles flipped.
Yeah.
And I just think look, the only thing I would say with that is it looks very, very reminiscent of a different Starship that also has four nacelles that everyone says look childish, which I really love.
Which
the Prometheus.
Oh, I sort of get it. Prometheus would have, yeah.
Because if you look at the Prometheus class, it has essentially Voyager, or it's almost Voyager nacelles, isn't it?
They're like a hybrid Sovry Voyager type.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say Voyager nacelles. I would say the more Sovereign
class. Nacelles. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Actually, sorry. I've just Googled. I was trying to go by memory, but I'm now looking at photos. But if you look at that, the fact that the nacelles are then flipped, I actually think looks better, and it sort of throws a bit better than having two nacelles that sit the same orientation. It just it just looks a bit out of place.
But what we have to realize is the design lineage for the Sagan is heavily inspired by the Constellation, as we know, which was the Stargazer previous, hence 82893. And the Stargazer, the Constellation Stargazer, had the Constitution class nacelles
on their sides.
Yeah. Both inward like you've done there. I
Yeah.
think this is not about it's supposed to be about speed because it's got two warp cores. These ships are workhorses.
Yeah.
And they are not designed to look pretty or anything like that. They've just got four engines because they've got two warp cores. This has got a thwacking huge hangar deck. These are just industrial. So if you look at the Sovereign class, that is the sleek cruiser. That is the flagship. That is what aesthetically that is the most pleasing. And then you've got the workhorse ships like this that have just got four nacelles. They're not designed to look pretty. They've got hangar decks. They've got service hatches. They've got blah 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 blah. These are the workhorses, and this is what I like about. This is what I love about the original Stargazer and this one, where it's function over form. And they didn't, they look at the nacelles and they go, well, we don't need to make them inverted. We just tack them on because it works. We've got a hangar deck on the top because it just works. We've got two warp cores because it just works. And everything just seems better. What I would have appreciated, though, going back to the magazine, is a little tidbit about the progression of design between the Sagan class and the Neo Constitution class, where this was, if you permit me, this was the last angular saucer section that we saw before we got the Neo. And as Doug has explained in interviews, the reason why they went for a more retro look, oval, is because the more angular arrowhead saucers had a tendency, because apparently in made up thing, there was an issue where a starship had to crash land on a planet, and because the saucer was angular, it actually inverted mid-air and crashed top down on the surface. And what they said is the design principle was a more oval shape was more aerodynamically sound, so if there was an emergency landing on the planet's surface, it wouldn't be as unstable in air. Which, thinking about it, yeah, because there's more surface area, but I would have liked to have seen that, because what we see is we see the Sagan class has design elements that were transported onto the Neo Constitution class, but
such as the nacelles,
such as the nacelles,
even though they do have strange coloured Passat collectors. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
They are different to the magazine than what's on the actual ship as well. So let's get into that.
Yes, because the magazine actually has them as being the same orange as the Constitution 3. But for whatever reason, in the actual, and also on the front of the magazine, if you look at the front of the magazine and on the box, it is orange, but the model is red. And I actually prefer the red, to be fair. I know when I had some renders made up by the lovely Jet Freak 7 earlier this year, I actually got him to change. I asked him to make the engines more sort of TNG era-esque, so they had proper deep red Passat collectors and a proper deep royal blue nacelle.
It is more reminiscent of the TNG era, and I dare say there is an in-universe explanation where they've we know with the Sagan class that it was constructed using Borg technology that they found on the artifact, and I dare say that there was modifications to the Passat ram scoops where it just changed to a slightly different color as an in-universe explanation. But the red, really, as I think the red just looks better. It looks better. It adds more aesthetic. It adds more depthness to.
But also it ties in with everything else.
Yeah,
I think the only time. See, look, this is a very controversial personal opinion of mine. A lot of the, I'm going to say, non-alpha canon Star Trek Online ships have gone down this route of piss ugly nacelles. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them have got some really hideous looking nacelles, and they've all got orange Passat collectors. So I'm just wondering if there was some kind of confusion at some point, because there were, Gagarin, for example.
Gagarin is
and a couple
really
of others.
Bad orange.
Yes. And there are a couple of other, like I think the Ross class also has orange.
Europa class as well.
The Europa class. Yeah. So there are these ships that came from Star Trek Online that were then obviously updated and upgraded for TV. And I'm just wondering if somewhere along the lines that some files got mixed and the Titan was always supposed to have red and something just went array or whether it was a case for it to blend in better with the Frontier Day fleet that they made them orange.
I think this was a transitional period for Star Trek Online because Star Trek Online in the last few years has updated its old models and renders.
They've all now got better textures,
but they fall more in line with the TNG era schemes of colouring.
Yep.
So we look at the take the Galaxy class, for instance. In Star Trek Online, it had orange ram scoops, and then they upgraded the textures, the paint colorings, and the illuminations, and it now has red. Yep. Same with the Odyssey class, the Lexington class. They have red. Yep. The Gagarin has red. Ironically, the Gagarin had red for the Mirror Universe ram scoops, but not
orange for the Prime Universe, which was just anyway.
So I think it's just a little tiny nitpick of ours. Yeah,
exactly. We're splitting hairs here on this. So yes, look, magazine wise, it's still a 2 or 3 out of 10. The content is good, but it's nothing new. It's all stuff that we've seen before. The print quality is absolutely shockingly dreadful.
I think to play devil's advocate, though, if you are not privy to this information, you know,
100%. Yes, if this is new to you, we are not trying to shit on anyone's parade here. If it's new to you, the information in there is fantastic. For us, as both big ship nerds, it's nothing new. So, look, if it's something you've never come across, great. It's really good content. If it's stuff you've come across before, it's just like flocking a dead horse.
Yeah, if you've got individual names for your self-stealing stem bolts, as me and Mike do, then it's really nothing new.
Yeah, we got Seeley and Stemmy.
I've got Ronald and Donald.
Oh, I've got Seeley and Stemmy. Oh. Right, the model.
Yes.
What's to say? Let's start with the stand.
Because I am a very lucky boy.
It seems to be that Mike number 2 is the only person on planet Earth that actually got a stand that actually worked. Everyone I've seen I think near enough every single post I've seen online and everyone I've spoken to has had a really bad stand. Now,
look, it's level.
It's not supposed to be level. It's supposed to point at an angle up.
Mine does, though. It goes up. Yours goes down.
So, right. Full disclosure, I have glued mine in place because the transparent part of the stand was so loose that it wouldn't even grip to the inside of the base. And then what was happening was, if you rested it in there, you put the Stargazer in. Now, the Stargazer, the model itself is actually really nice. Because it's one hell of a saucer section, and the saucer is entirely die-cast, it's very front-heavy. So what was happening is the model would go in, and the model was supposed to sit at a slight angle up, but actually ends up pointing down because of the sheer weight of it, and essentially the stem of the transparent piece of plastic was pushing forward. I've spoken to a few people, and I've looked online, and I would say 90% of people have had problems with the stands.
The issue I had was not the stem, it's the actual brackets, because as you said, the Sagan is very top heavy because the saucer section on the Sagan, front heavy. The front section of the Sagan is full die cast. The engineering in the nacelles is obviously plastic, so it dips slightly like that. And what's happening is the brackets, which look like this one is opening up slightly as the weight is pushing it upwards, which is causing a slight dip. But that is just the quality of the actual plastic that they use for that.
Ironically, mine doesn't do that.
Well, mine, I mean, I seem to be the only person on the planet that has a level stand, but really weak top brackets.
Yeah.
I call it Cerritos syndrome because the XL Cerritos that Hero Collector made and Eelmoth, again, for that one, that was extremely top heavy because it was a large saucer, full on die cast, and then everything else behind was plastic. And the mounts that they used were dreadful. So again, same issue. But I had the stand that did that, and then the top bracket did that. So no matter what you do, it would do that. So if anyone's saw my videos, I relied on Moopsy, the plushie,
push
to
it up.
rest on the nacelles to give the nose up a little bit.
On the stand talk, one of my, I'm going to say pet peeves, and it's across all of them. This also goes back to the old first round of Eagle Moss ships back in 20, whatever that was.
A long time ago.
Why can't they all face the same fucking angle?
This annoys me
really,
immensely.
Really annoying. So, like, right,
Yeah.
look, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it behind me. I'll post a photo, but behind me, I have got the Shenzhou, I have got the Strange New Worlds Enterprise, and the Titan, the Cerritos, and the La Serena.
Yeah.
The Stargazer points up at a nice angle. The Shenzhou points up at a nice angle. The Enterprise is level, the Cerritos is level, and so is. So when you put them on a display, they all kind of look like this, and it's just like, look, guys, it wouldn't take much. They all sit into the stand. It's not like they're going to fall out of the stand because they've got to rest in the damn thing. Why can't they all face, whether it's like a, I don't know, let's say that's 90, whether it's like an 80-degree angle, why can't everyone be the same? It's just,
if anything,
my OCD hates it.
If anything, if it's a 75 to 80 degree, the weight would secure it even more.
Exactly. It would be a benefit rather than a hindrance.
I'm looking at my wall of bankruptcy, which everyone knows about, and 90% of the Eagle Moss ships are about 80 degrees.
Yeah.
So they look swooping, they look like they're in flight. And then towards the end of the run, I've got the Bellerophon, the XL Nebula, that is sagging horrendously. The Vancouver level, Akira like that. And then you get to La Serena level, and then Titan, beautiful. It is a nice 80-degree angle, looks swooping, and then you get to the Sagan, and it's level.
Yeah.
Or slightly, so even if you slightly high.
Even if you wanted to keep these sort of within series, comparing the Titan and the Titan sits at a nice angle up, and then you're going to have the Sagan that sits down. I just don't understand why.
It looks odd on a shelf. I will admit it does look really odd on a shelf.
So, if I could look, especially with these stands which aren't numbered. It's a little bit harder with the Eagle Moss ones because obviously all the Eagle Moss ones had some kind of information on the bottom.
Yeah.
I would really love somebody to design some new stands for these where they all sit at the same angle.
Yes.
And I would happily pay for them.
There is an aftermarket that I have used for Diamond Select models. Yep. And they do make runs for these Starships. However, they are all a flat 90.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything. It's just flat.
But that's because it's more of a perspex and the model sits on the top rather than it actually. What I would really like is for somebody to, because what I also don't quite understand, and I said not to show things to the camera, but I'm going to do it in this case, right? If you look at that, okay, there is no reason why this couldn't be level and then this sits at an angle like that.
Yep. This is what they used to do with the first run of Eagle Moss ships.
Yeah.
From 1 to 15. They were all at a lovely angle, and it gave you a nice view of the underside, a nice view of the top
side. So what you get is the ship itself is supposed to sort of sit at an angle like that, which is just off of level. But if it was to sit at an angle like that, it would be way better, and also
it would rest better as well.
Exactly, and I think look. It depends on where you're going to put it. I'm a bit of a nerd. I have a large desk. I have a ship on my desk, as well as the ones in the room. So, and I quite often, every couple of weeks, will swap them out.
Yeah.
And the best ones that I've ever had on my desk are the Titan, the Titan, and the La Serena. Yeah. Because of where your eyes sit and where you sit at your desk, they're at a nice angle so you can see them. When I look at the Stargazer on my desk, it just looks flat and almost like it's pointing down. I also have the same gripe with the Daedalus from Stargate, because the ship for that one rests on it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? Why not have a small clamp and have it pointing up?
At least with the Battlestar run, they were very large, very heavy, so it made sense for them to be level. When you look at the Stargate run that the Master Replicas are doing, and with these, there is no reason for them to be flat. It would
No.
actually be more beneficial
Yeah.
because the
Well,
center of gravity would move backward.
the nice thing
making
about
them more
the
secure.
was it the Daedalus or the Prometheus?
Deadless.
Yeah, it's the Daedalus. The
Yeah.
Daedalus has like a U shape at the front, and then it's a flat piece, and then it has two sort of prongs that sit in some of the dips in the underside.
Yeah.
I actually put a small piece of clear plastic. I had some cable clips. I ended up sticking one of them on the U shape, so now the model points upwards. So when it is on my desk, it looks nice.
But it gives it more. It makes
Presence.
it look more dynamic because it is when you look at that, it is a very 2D model.
Yes,
it is
it's
very
also a very
flat,
thin ship.
very thin, very flat, very uneventful. It is one of those models that looks better. To say like that's the model, it looks better even if it was on its side.
Yeah.
If you were going to display it.
Yeah, I don't think you could ever put it on its side though, because that would just be a really strange anomaly, and nothing else would do it. So, but I think having it pointing up, I just think, look, if they made all the stands to the same degree angle, so the tips of all the saucers were in a perfect line, that
my
would
OCD would be satiated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So look, I think that the stands this time round are not great. A lot of people have moaned about stands. I've had to glue mine in place because it was just wobbling around, and the Stargazer actually fell out on a couple of occasions. So, Fanhome, please address stands, even if it's a case
they will get better.
Well, yes, but I also think that they almost need to do a remanufacture run. And maybe send out some replacement stands to people, because some of the stands I've seen on Facebook and that they're even worse than mine. Wow. And they're not gluable. So yeah, Fanhome, I think you really need to look at the stands, but you know,
it's a huge win for the aftermarket stand industry.
Well, look, someone designed them and put them on Thingiverse so we can all 3D print them, and then we're laughing.
There you go.
So, stand over. The actual model itself. She's beautiful. All of my little niggles and bitches and moans about the Titan are kind of resolved to a degree with this. We have proper Aztecing all over, minus a couple of small places, but I can kind of see that I can kind of forgive that to a degree.
It's sort of justified in a way, because where it's not, you barely see it anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. No horrible random bits of clear plastic.
I don't know about yours, but this is a huge win for me and probably a load of other people. No misaligned windows.
Oh, I have quite a few misaligned windows.
I have no misaligned windows.
Are you sure? Because I'm looking at this. Every single one that's on the top sides of the saucer are all out of whack.
Absolutely spot on for me. And considering this is
the ones on the bridge module are even worse.
When I received this, and this is considering this was the model I was waiting for, and Mike knows this all too well. When we were in STLV,
was it? Is this the model that you were? Do you know what? This is the first time I'm hearing of this.
Yes. Who would have thought me telling you every single day in Vegas?
If you see a Sega model, find me. If you see a Sega model, find me. Did we find one? No.
I've seen the models. Can you show me? No. Right. But this was the one I was looking forward to the most, and this is the best in terms of no misaligned windows. I think the color scheme is absolutely dot on. I think the ram scoops are the correct color.
Yeah.
What I love.
And the impulse engines are a much darker shade of orange, and they look better. I wish they just used that color for the Titan.
What I love about this is...
Actually, hang on a sec. Sorry just to interject for a second.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at this in very fine detail, right? The warp field, whatever you know what I mean. The warp
field regulator domes.
Thank you. The word had escaped my mind. Is painted absolutely to perfection.
It's stunning, isn't it?
But they can't get the windows aligned.
Mine are aligned, but
every single window is out of whack.
When you look at it, so I fell in love with this design when I first saw it. I have this as my main ship in Star Trek Online. I have a signed picture from Dave Blatt. This is, if I could have the USS adequate as this, I would have, but I needed a crap ship. But
maybe Captain Goodwill gets a promotion to a bigger ship.
the adequate A, the Satisfactory.
Yes, the USS Satisfactory, and that would be a Sagan class. Then the USS Excellence would be I don't know, a Sovereign class.
We've gone all sovereign, but this is an industrial workhorse ship, and the detail on this, the Aztecing is perfect. The windows are perfect. We have far more transport emitters on the dorsal and ventral. We have the warp field regulators on both sides. My only very slight bugbear, and this is what I have not told Mike about, the hangar bay behind the bridge is not dipped enough and is not painted well. So if you look at the hangar bay in the center between both warp field regulators, that's supposed to be a darker color because there's supposed to be a yellow landing elevator.
Yeah, correct.
That is not there. So I can sort of forgive it. What?
I kind of completely missed that, actually.
Yeah, I can sort of forgive it because my in-universe canon for this is closed. This is a closed shutter on this. However,
but
it's my only bugbear because I would have loved that to be a darker color. So in the center, as you can see it there, that should be black. And then can you see the little rectangle between both pylons? That should have yellow markings on it.
But I'm just wondering, hang on a second. I'm trying to remember though, was that actually the case for the screen used model? Because I know Doug designed it, but I don't know if they used it.
No. So when you look at if you look at this page here in the magazine.
Yes, but they came from Doug.
Yeah, but it's not painted on that. So I know that Fanhome used this. However, in the screen used model, for example, the observation lounge, right? You look at the observation lounge and the concept art, as you can see in that page there, it's all painted black, it's all yellow markings and everything like that. So I understand why Fanhome did it, but that is literally my only bugbear with this because the sheer level of detail is astonishing. For a model that is so small, it is astonishing because you look at the ventral side, right? And we've got the deflector dish and everything like that, but every single tiny marking around the phaser arrays, around cargo doors, the transporter emitters, the warp field regulators, RCS thrusters, everything is there. It is absolutely... This should have been the first model. If they'd have done issue 1 with this, right, I would have been over the moon with the quality. Because this is just...
I'm just looking at so much detail. I'm just looking at some screen caps and a couple of custom model makers that I know. I'm just looking to see what they've done.
Yeah.
And what a lot of them have kind of done is they've just made it the dark grey. They've not painted in any of the kind of the landing areas. And I'm also just looking at some of the other concept art from Doug. It looks like that. It does look like there is some kind of shutter or something there.
There is. It's an aircraft hangar elevator. So like on DS9, where they had the runabout pad, it goes down like that into the engineering hull.
Because if you go onto Doug's art station, for example, I will post these images on the video so you can all see. But there are some shots where he's got it open and closed.
Yeah.
So I suppose really you'll probably find that every shot that was used in the show, it was closed. So I actually can forgive that because it would just be...
I can, yeah.
And also, the other question is you'll probably find that they never had a 3D model for it.
No.
Because it was never used.
It was never used. There was only a little bit of the observation lounge.
Yeah.
That's all you ever saw. But for me, again, going back to the way that the Sagan is designed, so the Constellation was an aircraft carrier. That's why it had 7 shuttle bays.
Yeah.
With this one, they were very clever. So you've obviously got the landing bay behind the bridge module, and then you've got the shuttle bay at the back. So they literally can fly in there or fly out the back and everything. But looking at the back, I mean, it's just... I cannot get over the sheer level of detail on
Yeah.
such a small model. If this was this, I almost feel this should have been an XL because it deserves so much more detail.
See, my initial thinking was that this was so obviously this has been in play for a long time.
Yeah.
And what I think, and obviously I don't know, I haven't spoken to Ben or anyone else like that, so I don't actually know. So I'm just speculating here. But my speculation was that these ships were going to be coming out under the Eagle Moss umbrella originally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then obviously when Eagle Moss all fell through, everything got put on hold whilst new licenses and everything were worked out. So I have a feeling that the Sagan was going to be the first one.
From what I heard from Ben, now this is years and years. This is before Eagle Moss collapsed.
Yeah.
These were going to be the same size as the Star Trek Universe collection.
They are the same size.
Well, slightly bigger, shall we say?
Right.
So they, it was seen, and then they were going to go right. So we've got season 2. We've got the Sagan. We've got the Sutherland. We've got the Ross, Gagarin, and everything like that. We were going to make bigger ones, and then obviously everything fell through. And again, this is not a slight on this model whatsoever. This is Fanhome. You have absolutely nailed it out of the park with.
I wish
one.
the Titan had as good a detail
as this one. I really wish it.
Which makes me wonder if the Titan was rushed. Because the other thing is that these were already in production by Eagle Moss.
Or do you think that they rushed the Titan out?
Taken the stock.
Do you think that they rushed this out because the Titan had more screen time and was more recognized than the Sagan class?
Possibly. But then I suppose the question is, why is the Farragut episode 3? Episode 3, issue 3, sorry.
Issue 3. I don't know.
Because I'm not being funny. I don't know anyone. I don't know any person that has gone, oh, I'm so excited for the Farragut.
It might surprise us. We don't know.
It might. We haven't actually seen up close shots of it yet. But
it's going to be smaller.
Yeah, I mean, my thinking behind it was that perhaps these were already in or everything was already done for manufacturing. But when Eagle Moss fell through, manufacturing stopped. Then when Fanhome took the licenses, because I believe they're using the same factories.
They are using the exact same factory, and they have obtained the original molds from the original XL run. Because Fanhome
they've already asked which ones we want.
Yeah, ever the completionists that they are, they have said, "Hey, which ships do you want that you can't get, or are just far too expensive on the second-hand market?" And everyone's gone. Yeah, Master Class, Prometheus, blah 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 blah. So that it's the same factory that are doing them. That's why we are seeing the same issues.
The same window misalignment and the same strange blue plastic for the deflector and so on.
But the quality control is improving slightly. But I cannot get over this shit. This is by far my favorite one.
So the only other niggles that we have, and we can forgive it because of purely where they are, is the underside of the top nacelles and the upper side of the lower nacelles have some strange mismatching paint. It looks like that parts of the nacelles aren't painted or Aztec'd. And the left-hand side, I think it's the right-hand side looks better than the left-hand side.
That is correct. So on the underside of the...
Actually, I'll tell you what. Sorry, no, you are right. I'm ignoring
the underside of the ventral nacelles. So if I'm looking, the port side is more detailed than the starboard side. However, as I mentioned, when this is in the stand,
you can't see it.
This is more or less covered up by the bracket. So this is quite obscured. So...
But I'm wondering if that's why they've done it, is because the bracket's going to be sliding in and out. You don't want it to kind of scratch it off.
But in terms of like niggling issues, overall, if you look at this, if that is the only niggling issue, this is
they've done a cracking job. They've done a real
Even the
credit.
navigational lights, the
Yep.
very tiny navigational lights, are
Yep.
spot on.
And
And
they've not got a stupid piece of blue plastic for a deflector. It's just a nice painted, like what we discussed last time, like how I preferred the Discovery's deflector. They've done
yeah,
exactly the same thing. So, and the detail around the warp field stabilizers is absolutely beautiful. You can see all of those lines. Um, yeah, they've done an absolutely outstanding job on the paint on this one. The only other niggle that I have is if you look closely, you can see the dots for the paint where it's been almost laser printed on.
yeah.
The only other niggle I have is, and this is more of a, I'm going to mold and Doug for this one because this is his design. Why does the nacelle? So on the nacelle, the right hand nacelle pylon has NCC 82893 on it. Why does the left one not have USS Stargazer?
That is that was on the actual design, the actual concept, the 3D model, and everything. It's even in Star Trek Online. If I look at the concept sketch that I have got here, it is not on there.
No, I know, but it just looks a little bit out of place because it almost looks like the registration on the nacelle looks out of whack. Because normally you would have. So hang on, I'm going to grab.
You normally have Stargazer. You have the ship name on the port side and the registration on the starboard side.
Starboard side, correct.
On the concept art for the Sagan, you've just got the registration on the starboard side.
The Titan has both.
Are you on about the pylon or the nacelle?
On the nacelle.
Right, so
because the Titan doesn't have anything on it.
I have got the registration.
Really hang on, I'm going to get a different model.
I have got the registration and USS Stargazer, United Federation of Planets on each nacelle. On the pylon, I have got the registration, and that's it. However, if you look at the XL Reliant that Eagle Moss did, they also just have the registration on the roll bar.
Yeah, see, I'm looking here at what's this? Kerala. She's got nothing. She doesn't have a name or registry on the pylon or the nacelles.
Yeah. But that is how the Sagan that is just how the Sagan is. That is how it's concept all the way through to the 3D model.
But it just almost looks like it's almost a mistake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it just feels like if it said USS Stargazer on the port side, it would just sort of flow a bit better. It would just.
I'm looking at the Reliant. I'm looking at the Reliant right now. Yeah. Right. Port side, nothing. Starboard side, 1874.
Yeah. Tell you what, looking at these two together, you can. There are some significant color differences. I do think, though, if I remember correctly, the ring around the saucer was actually darker than this.
It was.
It's almost darker, like the darker grey that's inside the warp field stabilizers.
Yeah,
it should be that color.
It should be
because that color is also on the stripe on the top of the nacelles.
So the nacelles, even. Yeah. So the nacelles.
If you look at the pylons. Stripe, if you on the pylons, if you look at the stripe above where it says NCC 82893, that's a darker grey. It should be that color grey.
So it should be the two dark edges on the saucer, the nacelles, the dark accenting on the pylon, and the shuttle bay. So the colour of the shuttle bay door at the back.
Yeah.
Can you see where it says Stargazer?
Yeah.
That is the colour that the nacelles, the pylons, and the saucer section should be. They are the two colour schemes.
That should also be the same on the Titan as well.
Yeah, it should be.
But I have to say, actually, just looking at this, the colour of the nacelles on the Titan and the Stargazer are the same. It's interesting, though, that the ones on the Titan are more detailed. But I'm guessing that's probably just down to size.
It will be down to size.
Because the nacelle is probably about 15% bigger on the Titan than it is on the Stargazer.
I know in Star Trek Online I've darkened them because it just looks better.
But no, overall, it's a fantastic model. But again, we are back to the same result as the last one. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. purely because the model's fantastic. The magazine is horrible.
I'm going to say 9 out of 10. The model is
yeah, you're
fantastic.
biased. You love this ship.
Shush.
If you could make love to this ship, you would.
I would grab hold of its ample nacelles and have a good time. It is a 9 out of 10 for the model. It's by no means perfect. The magazine, 8 out of 10, nearly a 7 out of 10, given the print issues that I've got with color run and
the magazine for me gets a 4 out of 10 because the for me the content is nothing new. The concept art is nothing new. The print quality is worse than issue 1. I look, for me, if they can fix the materials and print quality, that'd be it. That's all I want.
If this was a glossy magazine,
if this was a glossy covered, a thicker cover, because this is like 100 GSM paper. It's very thin. Yeah. If they had a 200 GSM glossy cover and they fixed the streaky, stripy print, that would be it. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for a rewrite. I'm not asking for better content because the content I think is good, even though we didn't learn anything new.
Just improve the font.
Just improve the font. I mean,
please
look at that. I mean, come on.
It's very.
How can that get through quality control? I'm sorry.
I think they've got maybe a few different print machines, and I think all the print machines
can't print black.
They need maintenance because if you look at mine, and you see the square, the rectangle, that is literally copy and paste onto a black.
Yeah, or that is probably, or that's because the actual you know where that's come from. That's where someone's not done the design file correctly. What you'll find is these are being done in CMYK, but that design file is in RGB. So that's what it will be. Because RGB can't do transparency. So if there's a slight amount of color in your transparent area, then it will show up. So that's why you always print in CMYK. So that's what it looks like to me. It looks like that they are designing in CMYK using RGB assets and not actually recolor it, not re-profiling them. That's the word I meant to say.
But we know that the magazine is 10% of white people buy this. However, it is nice to have a nice accompaniment to
but at the same time, if you were buying a car and it came with elastic bands for tires, the tires are only 10% of the car.
You want everything to be nice.
If you've got rubber bands for tires, you're going to be pretty pissed, aren't you?
Yeah. For the money you are spending, you want everything to be nice.
Especially on issue 4, where we're spending £75 on an XL, which, don't get me wrong, I'm incredibly looking forward to. But I'd be interested to know what the cost split is between the magazine and, because that magazine can't cost more than 75p to £1 an issue.
No, absolutely not.
And doubling that price. Pages. Yeah, and doubling that price will make a massive difference on print quality. Mm-hmm. So, if they can if they gave it a glossy cover and fix the printing issues, I would be happy.
Yeah.
That's my only bugbear. But the actual models themselves are fantastic. I'm super looking forward to issue 4 and issue 10, I think, is the Enterprise E? Enterprise G, sorry.
Yes. Is it?
I want to say it's there.
I'm going to double check. Right, we have got...
Because they've updated their website now.
If it actually had when they were coming, that would be a great... Oh dear, it doesn't actually tell you in the collector's magazine.
Because
I know is
the next issue we will be getting, and also be getting the binder and the Raktajino mug.
Oh, I do love those mugs. I do love those. I have all the mugs, and they are nice because they are thermos mugs as well.
Sorry, it's issue 8. Issue 8, yes, because the Enterprise F is package 4, The Enterprise G is package 8, the Voyager A is package 12, and the Protostar is package 16, because they're every 4 issues, aren't they? Every fourth
So
issue is a...
we get the G in May 2025.
Correct. Yeah, because we get the Farragut next, and then we get the Enterprise F, and then after that is the Helios, and then after that it's the only alien ship, which is the Shrike.
The Shrike, yes. The Helios, I have got many questions. When we
Yes, why is it gold for a start?
Yes, why is
we
it
know.
gold?
I know we only see it in the Writer Nebula, which gives it an orange hue, but I've seen the 3D model for that, and it ain't gold.
And it's not gold in Star Trek Online, and it's not gold in the
gold
show.
in the concept art, and it's not gold in the screenshots that Dave showed out. So who knows? So, but yes, you never know. The community that we know and love, I'm sure, will come up with a fix for that relatively sharpish. Yeah, it'd be a case of painting it, and someone's got to create a decal kit for it.
Yeah.
So, but there we are. So look. 8 out of 10 again, which again I can't complain on. It's probably closer to a 9 out of 10 because the model is exceptional. And again, I think for a retail-based die-cast model, it is exceptional. I mean, yes. I remember going back. Do you remember Model Zone? That used to be a thing years
remember
ago.
Model Zone very well, and I remember when it went into doubly hit Smiths toward the end of its life.
Yes, and I remember buying the old Corgi Platinum Enterprise D from that. But for those who don't know, Model Zone was a shop that only sold models, whether that was model kits and stuff for them, such as paints and glues and materials, or pre-manufactured models such as these, for example. That's all they sold. And I remember going in there all the time. So I think, and even then, they were 40, 50 quid for a car model, for example. So look, they are reasonably priced. I mean, we're talking 10 to 15 years ago, showing my age now. So they are reasonably priced, I think, for what they are. And the quality on them is exceptional, minor a few bugs.
Yeah, I agree.
So I can't complain on that one. But look, Mike, thank you so much for joining me for issue 2 of Dry Dock, where we love to nerd out about all things Fanhome Star Trek models, because we are those kinds of nerds.
It is, as always, a pleasure. I love talking ships. I love showing off ships. I love holding ships. I would like to be with
Give birth to a ship? No.
I would like to marry a ship one day, if the stars align.
Well, I'm sure if you asked her to call herself a ship, she would allow it.
Yes, I will change her name to Stargazer at Goodwill.
She's going to love that.
She may leave me, but
someone might get castrated later this evening.
I love ships.
If your voice is higher next time, we know why.
I love ships, as you all know. I have a wall of bankruptcy, and this is the mild shelf of destitution. I love starships. I love talking about starships, and that is why I love being on the Dry Dock.
Thank you for being here, and
my pleasure.
I'll have to put up with you again for another 18 episodes. Oh, God.
Minimum.
No, we love you, really. For everyone watching and listening at home, thank you so much for allowing us your time. And remember, you can catch up with more Clonestar podcast at our Patreon, and the link for that is in this video's description. But until next time, live long and prosper.